question always gets raised. How do you take the relationships that you could possibly be building? You're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're on, Facebook, you're wherever you are. And I know we're going to talk specifically to the platform of Instagram today, but how do you take those relationships? Like, how do you create relationships? So I'm Aimée Darling, and I'm super excited to have with us today one of my oldest Plexus friends that we were in the beginning in the trenches together. We remember when there wasn't a book. We remember when there was no plan. We remember when Instagram really wasn't even around. Yep. And so I want to take a second and introduce you to Amber. And Amber, I'll just brag on her. Amber's that person in your life that you go, oh, she's so amazing. She had a dream of bringing her husband home so that he could be there while they raised their children. She was also the person I would watch. She's like, are you really on a road trip and like working out at the park at the, wherever you were camping? Yeah. And then I watched her bring him home, homeschooling her kids, buying a ranch. And I watched this happen, but really, and like the youngest diamond. So you guys, for those of you that are tuning in that have never met Amber Miller, go to her YouTube, go to her Instagram, go check it all out. If any of that lights you on fire, you'll see all the things. But what I want to discuss with Amber today is she's so good at living authentically on the platform and then turning around and creating business from it. And not everybody is a great fit for Plexus. So all that, Amber Miller, please tell everybody a little bit about you, what drives you, why you love it, and then what does that transfer into for some tips that I know you have today.
Yes, thank you so much. You make me feel like a superstar. I love you so much, and I know you guys all love Aimée. So I was so honored to be invited to share on this, and it's a really passionate subject for me, is making genuine connections and relationships on platforms like Instagram, which is where I primarily am, because so often we can get so invested in how we are showing up, like what people think of us. Are we good enough? Do we look good enough? Is our content good enough? And we forget that it's really being interested in others that causes them to be interested in us. Right? We need to spend less time being interesting and instead be interested. So I love that transition, and it's so much more natural, and it brings a lot of peace. So before I get into this, I do want to say, like Aimée said, I started really young. I knew absolutely nothing. It was so much trial and error and experimenting and falling over myself and getting up and trying again. I purposely leave all of my old posts on my Instagram, if you want to scroll to the bottom, because I want people to see, like, look at where it started and look now, so that no one goes, oh, well, she's just naturally good at this, because that's 100% not true and not my story. This is all,
Scroll back. You're like, ooh, janky.
Yes, I have like been wanting to delete things, and I'm like, no, I'm going to leave it up because I want people to see what growth looks like and towards, that process. So please do that. Don't feel like, I don't know this. This is so foreign. You will get comfortable in this the more you do it. So first part of Instagram, which we're not going to talk about, but I just want to mention, is that valuable content, like Aimée said, making sure that you're showing who you are. So for me, we love animals. We're farmers, we're ranchers, we homeschool, I'm outdoors. I'm not fancy. I'm not put together. And I'm very clear with that in my stories, on my feed. I don't try to hide it and be something I'm not, because that's not authentic, and I can't genuinely do that well. I'll drain energy so fast, right? So what do you love? Like, do you love cats? Do you love knitting? Do you love running? Are you into fitness? Are you into cooking? Like, what is it? Do you love to read books? Like, what? And draw that out and put that out there, right? Because if we look at Instagram as a platform of like a meet and greet, like we're all showing up and trying to meet other friends, like a mom's group, or a meetup at the park, or singles. It's kind of like speed dating in a way, right? I'm going to go to that farmer's friend speed dating place to meet someone, not the New York City one. I'm going where I see fellow people who are like me. So the more you put yourself out there, the more you'll attract the people that are going to jive with you. So it will be natural. So make sure you're
Amber,
having, yeah.
to also to interrupt, but to also encourage. I believe in life that we are very multi-interesting
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot of interests. So
Yeah.
this was difficult for me in the beginning because I'm a fire wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an allergy mama.
Mm-hmm.
I also am a nutritionist. I
Mm-hmm.
also love all things outdoors. I love all things DIY. If we can make some homemade butter, that's my jam. And right, like, I don't
Yeah.
know how, but I had so many interests.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say briefly? Like, what would you say? Because there is so much.
Mm-hmm.
How did you pare it down to
Yeah.
just be, so you knew what you were going to go seek to
Yeah.
be interested in other people? How did you then use that as your template for what is interesting?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
100%. What
Pitch
I
two
thought of,
things, one thing.
for me, it's three things mainly. It's homeschooling, it's homesteading, and then it's my home business. Like I do a lot of content in that as well, and motherhood, like all of those things combined. So what I would say is look for the interests that you have and hobbies that you would connect with other people on, that they could connect with you on, that your content is based on that. So you have to make sure your content is something people can comment on or learn from or participate in. And this is one of the key markers I look for when I'm looking for people to connect with. So I will go to someone's wall and I will see, does this person have content that I can connect with on? Or is it just a bunch of family photos? If it's just a bunch of family photos, I don't have anything, they're a stranger. It'd be weird if I'm like, your kids are so cute, right? Like there's nothing for me to engage on that. But if they're putting pictures of their recipes or maybe their animals or a trip they took or books they're reading, I can engage with that. So make sure what you're putting out on your Instagram is something that fellow people will engage on in those interests. And so that's how I would say to key in on what that is for you and pick those 3 or so things that's really focused in.
So that's double-edged, right? That's double-edged. That's what you're posting about.
Yep.
Narrowed it down so that your channel is a consistent flow, right?
Yep.
If I want to learn about how to house stuff, I go to HGTV, I watch the house channel. If I want to learn about homestead, homeschool, home business, I start looking for people like Amber.
Yep.
So that's double-edged. This is what I'm posting about, narrow, but also this is what I'm interested in, because then there's where the genuine connections come in. So this is where the subject today of how are you transitioning from that to that? Because we can be, I heard a woman, a really, really successful woman in our company one time recently, she said, the problem people run into is they get dropped into the friend zone. So what are you doing to actually, because if we're on there for business, then we need to do business. So what are you doing that then takes, I see you, what do you do?
Yeah. So, well, to intentionally find those people, you can't just show up and put good stuff out. You have to alert people to you, like, hey, I'm over here. So I will find a hashtag that jives with who I am. So maybe that's hashtag farm family or, homeschool mom. And I will go to the most recent. Don't go to the top. The top are people that have tens of thousands of followers. They're not going to engage with you. I go to recent on the hashtag. I'll scroll the photos and I look for accounts that I could engage with, right? I look for my avatar of person that I think would like me and that I like based off what I see. And someone that's active, someone that's not posting 2 months ago, someone that's in their stories. And I do not follow them back. I want you to experiment with this. I've done multiple things. I used to follow the people to hope they would follow me. Now what I do is I comment on their most recent photo, if it's possible. Like the other day, someone put up gardening carrots. And so I said, oh, I'm so wanting to plant that this year. I'm looking for tips on this, like I engage with that. Or I'll go to their story. And if there's something in their story that's appropriate to engage on, I'll ask a question or leave a genuine response. And that's my hello. That's my wave. I'm over here. Yeah. And what I've seen from that is 9 out of 10 people, because I was intentionally finding those people, come to my wall and they follow me or they start watching my stories. And my method, you can either track this, write down all those accounts that you're intentionally with, and then go to your story views, see if they're watching your stories. You'll get the notification within an hour or two that they're following you, right? You can track all those people down. That works well. For me, what I do now is just kind of let the cream rise to the top. I start noticing like, oh, someone's new in my story. Oh, they DM me back. Oh, they're commenting on my stuff. And because I'm really consistent at putting out stories and putting out content, they'll naturally start commenting on that. I go back and comment on them and watch their things. And this is where you use intuition of, I'm not trying to build this friendship relationship, right? I just want rapport with this person. I want them to have that like-mindedness and fellow trust, to where you follow someone because you love their home decor maybe, and they recommend something from Target and you're like, oh, I'm going to get it because I like her style, and there's a trust and rapport. You don't have to be best friends to want to use what she's using, right? It's just that rapport.
And then Amber, to take that and out of curiosity, if part of your world, of course, is health and wellness, your personal journey, that's why we're here. The hub of what we talk about is Plexus. Mm-hmm. However, if you know that other 2 of your 3 that you're focusing on, that you're posting on, mm-hmm. but you're also communicating with and meeting new people, mm-hmm. it reminds me in my mind, because I'm visual, it reminds me of going to like a meetup group. And somebody said, I went to Target and I got this super cool lamp. And then you, in your stories, are like, I got the lamp too. Yes. And you're literally talking about it later because it's genuine.
Yes.
If I'm sharing that something is on, because my world is a lot of food. If I'm sharing, hey, this new, Bulgarian sheep feta is at your local Instagram, your local blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I will literally ask a question. Hey, if you find it in yours, let me know. In my stories.
Good. Yeah.
So then if you are then building that relationship, Amber, so that's almost like the first couple times you go to a meetup, right? First mm-hmm. couple times you go to a mom function, first mm-hmm. couple times. So now you've done that. Where I see people drop the ball is they stop posting on Instagram for a while, or they stop using their stories, and then they go, well, who was watching me? I've done that.
Yeah, you have to be consistent. That's the key thing. And sometimes there's going to be funks, when you're not feeling like it with your stories and showing up. And in those times, I tell my team, like, go to Pinterest, find an awesome quote, go to your bookshelf. Is there a book you read 2 months ago that you want to just show a picture of? Like, be a resource of ideas. Always give recommendations. I try once a week at least, because I want to kind of create FOMO in the people that are watching me. Like, I don't know what she's going to share next, and she's always sharing ideas. So I got to go. I got to go check. Yes. Uh-huh. And you do not have to be the developer of those ideas. I look at it almost as I'm creating a Pinterest board for people that are like me with my stories, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can go to Pinterest and find things I love that my people who follow me would love, and be like, oh my gosh, I saw this. It's beautiful. And they're going to love that. And that builds rapport. That builds trust. Every time someone goes, me too, you're building that rapport, trust, connection. So now we have 2 options. Either you're going to continue to put your products in there, a couple times a week, like a picture of you with it, a story, a poll, and mixed in with the other value that you're giving, because people are going to come to my wall and click to follow me or watch me because of everything outside of Plexus, not because of Plexus. Only Plexus people would follow me for that, right? Which is not what I need for business. So I have to give value and interest in other subjects, and then this is what I love and do as well. And this is why it's blessed me. And then that is where the exposure comes in. They might be following me for homesteading or homeschooling, but that exposure is going to build with Plexus. And as the Me Too movements, and as that exposure, the Me Too times where they have, and as that exposure builds, they're going to go, you know what? I want to try that. Yeah. Not on the first time. A lot of times it's on the 7th or 8th or 9th. And you never know when that's happening on somebody. You cannot judge. I see people do this. They'll put their products out there. They get no interest or comments or polls back. And then they say, well, nobody's interested. No, you just added an exposure, and now you're going to let it die. because you're not going to continue.
Yes.
Right? So that's super important, consistency with that. But the two options is either they will come to you and click on a poll or ask for more information because of the rapport you've built, or you go to them. And it's also really important to go to people that you build the rapport with and ask, are you interested? I've worded a message for myself. Once I feel like my measure is, if this person came to me and said, hey, you know, I started this new line and I know we're so like-minded and I thought it would bless you as well. Have you heard of it? I would love to send you some info if you are. If they asked me that and I was like, oh, cool. I know this I recognize that title. I love watching her stuff. Sure. If I would feel that way, then I feel comfortable going to them. And that's that intuition that I use. Okay. And I do that. I'll say, we're so like-minded. Yeah, there's a bridge. If there's a bridge there that they could walk over or I could walk over, then I know we have rapport, we have trust, we have commonality. I might not know even your name. I know you by your title, you know, Hearts and Home or something, but I know who Hearts and Home is. Right. This person has been involved with me.
Okay. So here's let me kind of recap where we are at this point for those of you that are kind of like, what are we talking about today? So, all right, Instagram is the platform we're talking about. This is the same for all social media platforms. And Amber is walking us through, you are posting within a more narrow scope, 2 to 3, usually 3 things that you're interested in. And you're putting out content that has value, but because you're a business and you're interested, you are going out, following hashtags, looking for other people that are also part of what you're interested in so that you can have genuine connections. The key is where Amber's here today is really to teach and talk about something you should go try. Because if you don't do this, give it 4, 6, 8 weeks of doing this every day, once a day, twice a day, 20 times a day. If you don't do this part, your business won't grow. So then what she's teaching, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amber, you're then taking that new relationship. You're continuing to verbalize on stories. You're continuing to live out loud. And you're weaving in, maybe you were talking about being a tired, scattered mama today, and you're talking about the very real fact that this product is part of what you use. No different than you were talking about cleaning out a stall. Yes. Up in a stall. And this is the rake we use. This is the rake my son used. And this is where we bought it. It's become that unemotional about whether or not people run out and buy the rake or run out and buy the sled. 100%. And so then you're doing, so this is the part where this is the rub. You're watching who's watching stories and you're watching and you're messaging them. Hey, I saw that you saw this. Would you like more information? Would you like a sample? That's where you're sending messages. And then you're sharing information and then you're inviting them to try products or come to something. But then the other side, I think, is the part where people have to put their big girl pants on. And this is really important because you can do that, but you also need to be doing what Amber just said. Spend the time to say, and what did you say again? I noticed we both have a common interest in. Yes.
I always say, hey, I've so enjoyed following your content and all of your stories and your mom tip ideas. I know that we are so like-minded in our goals. I use the word like-minded. I use the word kindred spirits in our desire for raising our kids in nature, whatever it is. And this has blessed me so much. I'm not sure if you've seen it on my stories. Have you ever tried this? I'll ask that. It blessed me in this and this and this. And I love sharing it with other women. And here's another, let me give you another tip here. When you do this, intro the products and the business at the same time. I always do it together. Half the people say yes to products. The other half say yes to the business. Yes. And here's the kicker. If they say yes to products, then further in the conversation, you could say, and are you interested in the home income stream as well? You already brought it up. It's natural. So
income stream, right? Yeah. You're not asking somebody, see, part of what people run into when they offer the product or they offer the business, you're offering something that has words that they don't understand. Do you want to take Slim? Yeah. Well, why would I? Do you want to build a business? Well, who has time for that? So if you listen to how Amber's saying this, I've learned so much from Amber over the years, and we trade, like, how do you ask?
Yeah.
That's how you ask. Pare it down, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Amber. Pare it down, because this is what I'm going to go do today, right? I'm going to go back and use wording that talks about, could you use another stream of income?
Yes.
Could you use some more mental clarity and energy?
Yes.
You're already demonstrating in your stories that this is how you get these things, right? This is the problem. This is the answer. This is the problem. This is the answer. But the part where Amber is so good is and I watch her to see what she's doing, and then I learn, and then I go try it, and then I make a bunch of mistakes, and I come back and I go, Amber, what'd you do? Because it's the bridging the gap between blah, blah, blah. This works for me, but then how do you then start messaging the person, sending them a message? Right? Am I right? Is that what you're doing?
No, 100% right. That's exactly. You have that gap bridged by sharing like-minded content and commenting on their content, which happens naturally. If you're using the platform like it's supposed to be, like social, like commenting on things and watching stories, not just scrolling and consuming, but if you are being part of this, and this is where you can just set your timer. If someone said, how do I cause more engagement on my feed? And I've tested this out with my girls. It works. It's just using the hashtag, going and finding people on hashtags, commenting on them. Here's my other thing I do a lot. Find accounts you love. Like there's this Well-Watered Woman account that I love. And they're like a business that sells journals. I will go to their posts, their most recent posts, and look at who's commenting on theirs. And I see that person's active, that person's engaged with Instagram. This is someone that's like me naturally because we both love this account. So I'll go to their wall and I'll just comment on their thing, or I'll watch their story, or I leave a comment, a good comment that stands out, that's like this long on those posts. Because think about it, you always stop when you're scrolling to see the comments on a post and someone's this long, you're like, oh, who is that person? Click, and then they're on my wall. So yeah, all those methods.
Start following you. I have had some recent followers where I have genuinely taken the time to do less and have it be better.
Yes.
And I have genuinely commented recently on a couple things I'm doing with personal growth. And all of a sudden I got 3-4 people.
Yep. Because the comment you left on somebody else's, that is actually one of the best ways, because people are on the same platform, the same account that you're loving. So it's already people in your niche market, right? And they come to you and choose to follow you.
Yes.
I would rather you have 300 genuine followers who like your content, who chose to follow you, who are engaged with your stuff, than 10,000 random followers who really don't care about what you're doing. Or people look at vanity metrics and they mean nothing. It's the connection behind the scene that means everything.
So you introduced a third thing. So you introduced the subject of how do you connect with people so that it can turn into business. You introduced the getting your own content out there and people will begin to engage with you. Getting out there and engaging with other people that are in that same general zone, the people that are seeking more knowledge about the subject that you also love. And then the third thing you just introduced is it's not the big account that you're going after. I'm not trying to talk with the woman with 2.5 million followers. I'm totally curious who else is jiving in that zone on something I love, I teach on, I'm learning about, I'm living through. And that is how you start doing it. But I love what you said, that you set a timer, because so many of us, Plexus is a very solid part-time business.
Yes.
Okay, side hustle, that wording does not exist in my language. It's like so demeaning.
And honestly, it's a part-time for me too. As a diamond, it's still it's something that has its hours. It's not, I'm not all day long on this device.
No.
And you will see such a massive growth if you put the time on it. Like, you know, if 30 minutes, of your focus. If you have your list, okay, what's my to-do on Instagram? 30 minutes of going to accounts, commenting on stuff, watching stories, leaving comments, going to things I like, leaving genuine comments. And you are there just to engage with everything on the platform. You're going to naturally see your follows increase. Follow, because they're finding you, they're seeing you, and that's a true follower. I always say this, I don't want followers, I want fellowship with my people.
Yes.
Right? And that's how you
Yes.
create it, because that turns into consumers of your products and interest in your business, because they're genuinely there for you and all the value you're giving them. So it creates that natural interest.
Yes. And what then happens? Then you turn into, they become a customer.
Yep.
They become a team member. They already have a level of trust. They already kind of know you. They already already like you. They already begin to trust you. And then when we hear top people teaching on, you have to build know, like, and trust. Well, you have to build it slowly, but then because of that, then you can have a conversation that says, what do you mean you're not taking your products?
Yes.
You wanted results.
Yes, I get on a Zoom with the person, whether it's products or business, or even I use Instagram call. I'll hit the call button. And you guys, people just love that genuine one-on-one time with you. And that strengthens that community. Because I always think, who has stayed with me in this journey? It's the people that feel close to me and are leaning on my belief, leaning on my strength, that want to do life with me because I'm living boldly and loudly. And so you want to deepen that connection with that one-on-one call as soon as they're interested in products, or as soon as they just do the face and ask questions. Just asking questions of people will take you so far.
It will. Amber, I know that we could go even deeper into this subject, and I feel like our teams and the people in our circle are going to ask us to do more. Yeah. And to stop the point of, let's not go into that zone today, but let's agree to do more of this. Yes. And just to recap, I mean, I appreciate your time so much. And for those of you that are jumping in and following, there's another video on what else you should be saying. And then there's another video on, so watch that next one. If you think about this time today, let me leave you with this. Anything you grow has a starting point. Mm-hmm. And the challenge people run into is they don't want to be ridiculous. They don't want to feel out of control. They don't want to work with the learning curve. And where Amber and I can sit here after almost 8 years mm-hmm. and tell you from a woman perspective, from a personal growth perspective, from a joy perspective, from a financial perspective, from a freedom and flexibility perspective, if you choose to put the time into building relationships with people, mm-hmm. if you choose to utilize this platform as an opportunity to grow your Plexus business, it can be a vehicle bigger than what you really understand, because you have to go through those motions of, I look ridiculous, I don't know what I'm doing, this is terrible old content, oh my gosh, should I really just do that in the stories? You'll get better. Experiment. And then you'll get to a point where you're going to teach like Amber's teaching us, because you're nailing it. Yeah. Yes. But at the end of the day, all that ridiculousness is worth it, because you're building genuine relationships. Yeah. Yeah.
I love the question of, what is the best thing that could happen if you decide to lean in and do this? What's the best thing that could happen? And is that worth pursuing?
That.